There is a truth that people often forget in the moments where life feels unbearable, and that truth is this. Every single person you admire, every success story you have ever heard, every breakthrough that has inspired you, it all came from someone who simply refused to quit. Not someone who had it easy, not someone who always had a clear path, but someone who stared at the chaos in front of them and still decided to keep moving forward. You see, quitting is the most seductive option because it pretends to give you relief. When the pain feels heavy, when progress is invisible, when people doubt you, quitting whispers, a stop, and all this pressure will disappear. But what quitting never tells you is that robs you of the future you are working towards. It steals the life you want, the love you deserve, the potential that is waiting for you on the other side of struggle. There will be days where you doubt everything, days where you will think, why am I even trying? No one sees my effort. Nothing is changing. But those are the exact days that matter most, because pushing through when it is hardest is what builds your character, your resilience, your strength. Anyone can keep going when it feels easy. But when it feels impossible and you still choose to fight, that is when transformation happens. You may feel like you are walking in the dark right now, but the thing about darkness is this. It only takes one step, one moment, one act of persistence to stumble into the light, and often that light is closer than you think. The moment right before you want to give up is often the very moment you're about to break through. So when your mind screams that you are done, when your heart feels too heavy, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the version of you that refused to settle, the version that wanted more, that craved growth, that knew deep down you were meant for something bigger. That part of you still exists, and it is counting on you not to quit. Never quit on yourself because you are stronger than you believe. You are braver than you think, and you are closer than you realize. The story of your life is still being written, and the ending will not be determined by the pain you felt, but by the choice you made to keep going. When we talk about quitting, we have to understand the illusion it creates. Quitting feels attractive in the moment because it offers you an escape from the discomfort you are experiencing right now. You are tired, you are frustrated, you feel like no progress is being made, and in that exact moment, the thought of quitting feels like it will give you instant peace. It is like a voice whispering in your ear saying, you can rest, you can stop pushing, you do not need to carry this weight anymore. And in the short term, that seems like relief. But here is the truth. Quitting does not end the pain, it only trades it for a different kind of pain. The pain of regret, the pain of what could have been. The pain of wondering what would have happened if you had just held on a little longer. Think about a mountain climber who gets halfway up the mountain. The climb is brutal, the air is thin, and every step feels impossible. The thought of turning back down the mountain starts to feel so tempting because going back feels safer and easier than enduring what lies ahead. But here is the problem when the climber goes back down. They do not escape the mountain. They carry the disappointment of not reaching the summit. They carry the thought that they gave up when they were so close. That weight does not disappear when you quit. It lingers with you. And the same is true in life. When you quit, you do not actually get peace. You simply exchange the current discomfort for a lifelong wandering. You give up the future you dreamed of in order to feel better for a moment right now. All right, and if you really think about it, is that a fair trade? To give away years of joy, fulfillment, pride, and possibility just to feel a short burst of comfort today. That is not a trade you would consciously make if you could see the whole picture. But in the heat of the struggle, it is so easy to forget the bigger vision. What you have to remind yourself is that quitting might seem like it ends the fight, but it also ends the possibility. The moment you stop trying, you stop giving yourself the chance to win. Every successful person you look up to had 100 reasons to quit. They had obstacles, critics, doubts, failures, and setbacks that made quitting look like the easiest choice. The difference between them and the people who never made it is not that they had an easier path. It is that they refused to exchange their future for the comfort of quitting. Now think about your own life. Imagine the version of you 5 years from now, looking back at this moment. Which version of yourself would you rather face in the mirror? The one who kept going, who endured, who pushed through and found out what was possible. Or the one who let the pain win, who turned away from the dream and now has to live with the knowledge of what was lost. That choice is being made every time you think about quitting. Quitting gives temporary relief, but it steals everything long-term. Persistence, on the other hand, is the opposite. It costs you discomfort today, but it rewards you tomorrow. And those rewards are not small. They are everything you wanted when you started. The joy of achieving your goal, the pride of knowing you kept your word to yourself. The inspiration you give to others who are watching you, the strength you discover within yourself that you never knew you had. So the next time quitting tempts you, pause and ask, am I making this decision because I truly do not want this goal anymore? Or am I making it because I'm tired? I want instant relief. If the answer is the second one, then do not quit. Rest if you must. Slow down if you need to. But do not quit. Because quitting does not just take away your struggle, it takes away your future. Quitting might feel like the easy way out, but in truth, it is the most expensive choice you can ever make. It costs you your dreams. It costs you your potential. And it costs you the pride of becoming the person you were meant to be. And when you look at it that way, persistence is the only choice that makes sense. Persistence in the darkest moments creates the strongest breakthroughs. It is easy to show up when things are going well, when people are applauding you, when you are being rewarded for your efforts. But those moments are not what define you. The moments that shape who you are and what you become are the moments when everything feels like it is falling apart. Yet, falling apart. It is in the silence of progress, in the frustration of setbacks, and in the loneliness of the journey that persistence becomes the difference between those who break through and those who break down. You pour energy into your work, into your dreams, into your relationships, and it feels like the world is not responding. You try and fail, you get rejected, you face disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. These moments are like standing in a tunnel where you cannot see the light, where the air feels heavy and your mind whispers, what if this is all for nothing? That is the moment persistence matters most. Because here is the truth. The darkest moments are not the end of your story. They are the preparation for your breakthrough. Pressure builds diamonds. Fire forges steel. Storms grow the strongest trees. Every hardship you face is building something inside of you that cannot be built in comfort. Without resistance, you do not develop strength. Without difficulty, you do not develop endurance. And without persistence in the darkest times, you do not earn the breakthroughs that change your life. Imagine a runner training for a marathon. The first few miles might feel good, energized, even enjoyable. But at some point, exhaustion hits, muscles burn, and every step feels like a battle. That is the wall every runner talks about. And it is at that wall where persistence becomes everything. If the runner quits, they never know what lies beyond that barrier. But if they keep going, step after step, even when their body screams to stop, they discover a new level of strength. They push through and realize they are capable of more than they ever believed. Life works the same way. Oh, your darkest moments are your wall. They are the point where you are tested, where life asks you, how badly do you want this? Are you willing to endure this pain for the reward that is waiting on the other side? And those who persist, who say yes even when they are exhausted, are the ones who reach their breakthrough. Think about the stories you admire most. They are never about someone who had it easy. They are about people who refuse to give up in the face of impossible odds. They kept showing up when no one believed in them. They persisted through rejection, failure, and heartbreak. And then, eventually, they broke through. That is what makes their story inspiring. Not that it was effortless, but that it was earned. Persistence in the dark also changes you on the inside. Every time you refuse to quit, you prove something powerful to yourself. That you are stronger than your excuses, braver than your fears, and more resilient than you imagined. And once you know that about yourself, nothing can take it away from you. That is the true breakthrough. Yes, achieving the goal matters, but the person you become in the process is the real reward. When you are tempted to quit in the dark, remind yourself that the night is always darkest before the dawn. The silence of your effort does not mean nothing is happening. Often the breakthrough is building beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to appear. Just because you cannot see it yet does not mean it is not coming. So keep moving, even if the steps are small, even if you are crawling instead of running. Persistence is not about being perfect. It is about refusing to stop. And every time you take another step, even in the dark, you are moving closer to the light. The strongest breakthroughs are not handed to you. They are earned by the person who kept going when everything in them said to quit, even in the dark. And that person can be you. Every success story is built on resilience, not ease. We often look at people who have achieved great things and imagine their path was smooth. We assume they must have had advantages, resources, or luck that we did not. But if you peel back the curtain on any story of true achievement, you will always find moments of struggle, doubt, and failure. What separates those stories from the countless dreams that never came alive is not that their journey was easier. It is that they had the resilience to endure what others could not. Resilience is the ability to get back up when life knocks you down. It is the muscle that grows stronger every time you fall and decide to rise again. Success is not built in a straight line. It is built in the messy, chaotic zigzags of trying, failing, learning, adjusting, and trying again. Without resilience, the first setback would be the end of the story. With resilience, every setback becomes part of the journey forward. Think about the inventors, the artists, the entrepreneurs, the athletes who inspire the world. Behind their achievements are stories of rejection letters, failed experiments, lost games, financial ruin, and sleepless nights. They were told a no more times than they could count. They experienced public embarrassment, personal doubt, and endless obstacles. But they did not let those moments define them. They chose to see failure as feedback, rejection as redirection, and obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger. That mindset, the resilience to keep moving forward, is what turned their dreams into reality. Now contrast that with someone who gives up at the first sign of difficulty. They set a goal, they hit an obstacle, and they interpret it as a signal that it was not meant to be. They tell themselves it was too hard, so it must not be right for me. But the truth is, the very difficulty they walked away from was the exact training ground needed to achieve what they wanted. Success does not show up in spite of hardship. Well, it shows up because of it. Resilience is not a side trait of success. It is the foundation. Resilience also builds trust with yourself. Every time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that you are not someone who breaks under pressure. You show yourself that you can handle more than you thought. And that self-trust is critical because without it, you will never dare to dream big. You will never step into risks or challenges if deep down you do not believe you can survive the setbacks. But with resilience, you carry a quiet confidence that says, no matter what happens, I will find a way through. That confidence is what allows you to attempt the extraordinary. Life will not protect you from challenges. In fact, the bigger your dreams, the bigger your obstacles. If you want an easy life, you can avoid challenges, but you will also avoid greatness. Ease never created strength. Ease never forged character. Ease never built the kind of stories that inspire others. If success were easy, it would not mean anything. What makes success powerful is the resilience it takes to earn it. Picture a tree in a storm. A shallow-rooted tree may look fine on the surface during calm weather, but the moment strong winds arrive, it topples. A deeply rooted tree, however, has faced storms before. Its roots dig deeper every time, and each storm strengthens it for the next. That is what resilience does for you. Every storm you face is not a punishment. It is an opportunity to grow your roots deeper. When life shakes you, resilience ensures you will not be destroyed. You will be strengthened. So the next time you are hit with a setback, remind yourself, this is not the end. This is the training. Every challenge is sculpting you into the kind of person who can hold the success you desire. Every no you hear is bringing you closer to the yes that matters. Every failure you experience is sharpening your skills, building your wisdom, and toughening your resolve. Every success story is proof that resilience outlasts difficulty. And if they can endure their storms, you can endure yours. Do not wish for ease. Wish for resilience. Wish for resilience. Because it is not the easy road that leads to greatness. It is the resilient traveler who makes it to the destination. Your pain today is shaping the strength you need tomorrow. It is easy to hate pain. It feels like a punishment, like life is cruelly piling weight onto your shoulders with no reason at all. When you are in the middle of pain, whether it is heartbreak, rejection, failure, or exhaustion, it feels senseless. You wonder, why me? Why now? What is the point of this? But the truth is, pain is not here to destroy you. Pain is here to prepare you. The very discomfort you wish would disappear is the exact pressure that is building the strength you will need for the future you are chasing. Think of pain like the weight in a gym. At first, the resistance feels unbearable. Your muscles ache, your body trembles, and your instinct is to drop the weight and walk away. But if you push through, if you endure the resistance, your muscles grow stronger. Without that resistance, without that pain, there would be no growth at all. At all. Life works in the same way. The challenges you are facing right now are life's weights. They are stretching you, straining you, testing you, not to break you, but to build you into someone capable of handling what is coming next. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has walked through pain. The difference is that they chose not to see pain as the end, but as the preparation. Athletes train through sore muscles because they know the pain of today creates the performance of tomorrow. Entrepreneurs push through rejection because they know the failures of today teach the lessons that lead to tomorrow's breakthroughs. Even in our personal lives, the heartbreaks we suffer, the disappointments we endure, it forces you to confront your limits, your beliefs, your fears, and your excuses. It strips away the illusion that life should be comfortable and reveals the truth that growth comes through struggle. The very strength you admire in others, the resilience, the confidence, the wisdom, it was forged in moments of pain they once thought they would not survive. It is important to understand that pain today is not forever. It feels permanent in the moment, but it is temporary. Sure, what lasts is not the pain itself, but the strength, wisdom, and perspective it gives you. When you look back months or years later, the very thing you thought would break you often becomes the thing you are most grateful for, because it equipped you for opportunities you never imagined. Take a moment and think about a past struggle in your own life. At the time, it probably felt unbearable, but did it not, in some way, change you for the better? Did it not build a resilience in you that you now carry? That is proof that pain is not wasted. The struggle you are facing today is building the version of you that you will need tomorrow. The key is not to run from pain, but to lean into it with purpose. Do not confuse pain with failure. Just because something hurts does not mean it is wrong. In fact, many times pain is the evidence that you are growing. The discomfort you feel when stepping outside your comfort zone is a sign that you are stretching into new territory. The ache you feel when pursuing your goals is a signal that you are building capacity. So when life feels heavy, remind yourself, this weight is training you. This hardship is sculpting you. This pain is not here to end your story. It is here to prepare you for the next chapter. The strength you will need tomorrow is being built today. Through every tear, every setback, every challenge you endure. If you quit to escape the pain, you also quit on the strength that pain was about to give you. But if you endure, if you stay with it, you will find yourself becoming the kind of person who can handle storms that once would have crushed you. And that strength will not only carry you to your dreams, it will inspire others to face their own struggles with courage. So instead of cursing the pain, see it as your personal training ground. Embrace it, learn from it, grow through it. Because one day, the strength you gain from this very season will be the reason you succeed in the next one. The moment you want to quit is usually the moment before progress. That is one of the greatest paradoxes in life and success. When everything in you is screaming, a stop, this is pointless, cannot go on, that is often the very edge where change is about to happen. It is like digging for treasure. You dig, and for a long time, all you see is dirt. It feels endless, it feels hopeless, and then just one more strike, one more effort, and suddenly you hit gold. Most people quit on the last strike. They were right there, 1 inch away from breakthrough, and they gave up because the process felt too painful. The reason this happens is because progress is invisible at first. Growth is happening beneath the surface long before you see results. It is like planting seeds. For weeks, nothing shows above the ground. If you judged by what you could see, you would assume nothing is happening. But underground, roots are forming, the seed is transforming, and life is preparing to break through the soil. If you stop watering too soon, the growth never reaches the surface. The same is true in your life. You may not see progress today, but that does not mean it is not happening. It is not happening. It may just mean you are closer than you realize. Think about the people who train for years to master a skill. There is often a long stretch of effort with little recognition. The musician practices scales. The writer writes page after page. The athlete trains in silence. For months or even years, the results seem invisible. But then suddenly something shifts. Their fingers glide across the instrument, their words flow effortlessly, their body performs with strength and precision. To the outside world, it looks like overnight success. But in reality, it was built on all those moments when they wanted to quit, but did not. The danger is that our minds are wired to seek immediate reward. When we do not see results quickly, we interpret it as failure. We say, "This is not working. I am wasting my time." But the truth is, progress does not always announce itself with a trumpet. Sometimes progress is quiet. It builds slowly, almost invisibly, until one day it explodes into view. And those who stayed long enough to reach that moment are the ones who reap the reward. You might be closer than you think right now. The job you want, the relationship you hope for, the dream you are working toward. What if you are just one conversation away, one more effort away, one more day of persistence away from the shift you have been waiting for? You cannot know for certain, but you can choose to believe that your efforts are not wasted. That belief alone can keep you in the game long enough to experience the breakthrough. I want you to imagine a miner digging through rock in search of diamonds. He digs for weeks, months, maybe even years. Finally, exhausted and hopeless, he decides to quit. He walks away, unaware that just a few inches beyond where he stopped, the diamonds were waiting. That is the tragedy of quitting too soon, Mo. Most of the time we are not failing because the goal is impossible. We are failing because we stopped just before the breakthrough arrived. So the next time you feel the urge to give up, pause. Remind yourself that this feeling is often the signal that you are closer than ever. The weight feels heaviest just before you succeed in lifting it. The storm feels strongest right before it breaks. The night feels darkest just before dawn. And your struggle feels most unbearable right before progress reveals itself. Hold on a little longer. Push one more time. Give yourself one more chance, because the moment you want to quit is rarely the moment to stop. It is the moment to dig deeper, to lean in, to trust that all your effort is not in vain. Progress is waiting for those who can endure just a little longer than their doubts. One day, you will look back at the moment you almost quit and realize it was the very turning point that made everything possible. And you will thank yourself for holding on when it felt impossible. That is why the breakthrough belongs to the ones who refuse to quit when quitting feels easiest. Remember why you started when the struggle feels unbearable. There will always come a point in any worthwhile journey where the weight feels too heavy, where every step forward feels like dragging yourself through mud. Your energy is low, your motivation has faded, and quitting seems not only tempting but logical. In those moments, the only thing powerful enough to pull you forward is the memory of why you began in the first place. Your why is your anchor. It is the force that steadies you when everything else feels unstable. When you first start something, whether it is a career, a business, a relationship, or a personal goal, you begin with energy. There is excitement, there is vision, there is passion. That initial spark gives you momentum, but passion is not permanent. Like a fire, it fades unless it is fueled. And when the spark fades, what remains is the grind, the sacrifice, the endless small steps that do not always give you instant rewards. This is the stage where most people give up. They forget the fire that started them, and they let the weight of the present blind them to the promise of the future. Your why is what reignites that fire. It is not just a vague dream. It is the deeper reason behind it. Maybe you wanted freedom. Maybe you wanted to take care of your family. Maybe you wanted to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. Whatever it is, that why is stronger than any obstacle in front of you. If you keep it in your heart. Think of an athlete training at dawn while the world sleeps. On the mornings when their body aches and their mind begs them to quit, they remember why they are doing it. To stand on a podium, to inspire others, to prove that their sacrifice has meaning. It is that vision that gets them out of bed when comfort calls. Or think of a parent working multiple jobs, exhausted beyond measure, yet refusing to give up, because their why is their children's future. The why makes the unbearable bearable. When struggle overwhelms you, stop and ask yourself, why did I begin? What was the vision that moved me? What did I hope to create for myself and for others? Let that vision come alive in your mind again. See it, feel it. Remind yourself that the pain you feel now is the price of reaching it. Without the why, the pain feels pointless. With the why, the pain feels purposeful. This is why the most successful people never just focus on the how. The how, the steps, the strategy, the effort is important, but it will never be enough to carry you through the darkest moments. The why is what carries you. It is your source of strength when your body and mind have nothing left to give. Sometimes your why also evolves. Maybe at first you started a journey just for yourself, but as you grow, your why becomes bigger. It becomes about your family, your community, the people you want to inspire. And the bigger your why, the stronger your endurance. The bigger your why, the less power your struggles have to knock you down. If you feel like quitting today, pause before you make that decision. Close your eyes and go back to the beginning. Remember the day you made the choice to start. Remember the hope you felt, the possibility, the fire in your chest. That person, the one who believed in something bigger, is still inside you. They are counting on you not to forget them. The road will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it if you stay true to why you started. Let that reason pull you through the days when motivation fails. Let it remind you that every ounce of pain is building the life you once dreamed about. Do not let temporary struggle erase your permanent vision, because when you reach the finish line, it will not be the ease of the journey that matters. It will be the strength of your why that got you there. And one day, when you stand on the other side of the struggle, you will realize the only reason you made it was because, in the hardest moments, you remembered why you started. Growth happens when you fight through the impossible, not the easy. Easy never changed anyone. Easy never demanded more of you than you already had to give. Easy lets you stay comfortable, stay safe, stay exactly the same. But if you want to grow, if you want to step into a version of yourself you have never known, you must be willing to face the impossible, the challenges that stretch you to your breaking point. It is in that fight, in that tension, in that resistance, where true growth is born. Think about the moments in your life when you changed the most. Were they the times when everything was going smoothly, when life felt effortless? Or were they the moments when you felt like the world was against you, when you were pushed to dig deeper than you ever thought possible? Growth does not happen in still water. It happens in the storm. The storm forces you to adapt, to rise, to discover strength you never knew existed. The truth is, the impossible is where you meet the real you. When everything feels beyond your ability and you keep going anyway, you uncover hidden reserves of courage, creativity, and resilience. You discover that you are not limited by the obstacles in front of you. You are limited only by the belief that you cannot overcome them. Every time you fight through the impossible, that belief shatters and your sense of what is possible expands. Consider someone training for their first marathon. At mile 5, it is still easy. At mile 10, fatigue begins to whisper. By mile 20, every part of their body is screaming to stop. That is the wall. That is the impossible. And yet, it is in pushing past that wall where they discover they are stronger than they imagined. Finishing the race is not just about physical endurance. It is about proving to themselves that they can do the impossible. The same principle applies to every area of life. The entrepreneur who survives failure after failure, the student who pushes through years of study, the artist who endures rejection after rejection. All of them are shaped not by the easy chapters, but by the impossible ones. Those moments force them to refine their skills, sharpen their focus, and deepen their determination. Without the impossible, there would be no transformation. What makes the impossible so powerful is that it humbles you. It strips away your ego and forces you to ask, who do I need to become to overcome this? That question is the seed of growth. You start building discipline, patience, resilience, and creativity. Not because you want to, but because you must. The impossible demands it. And when you finally rise to meet that demand, you realize you have grown into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. It is tempting to avoid the impossible, to choose the paths that look safer and easier. But the cost of avoiding it is stagnation. You stay the same, and deep down, you know you are capable of more. That quiet dissatisfaction comes from knowing you chose comfort over growth. But when you embrace the impossible, when you lean into the challenges that terrify you, you step into a life that feels alive, You may be bruised, exhausted, even broken at times, but you will also be growing, evolving, and becoming. So the next time you are faced with something that feels impossible, resist the urge to run. Recognize it for what it really is, an invitation to become more. An invitation to grow into the version of yourself that your current comfort zone cannot create. That is why the impossible is not a wall meant to stop you. It is a door meant to transform you. And here is the most beautiful part. Once you fight through the impossible, what once seemed unthinkable becomes your new normal. The ceiling you once thought you would never break becomes the floor you now stand on. That is how growth works. It redefines your limits, one impossible fight at a time. So do not fear the impossible. Embrace it. Because growth does not happen when things are easy. Growth happens when you fight, when you struggle, when you refuse to quit in the face of what feels impossible. That is where you find your strength. That is where you discover who you truly are. Never quit on yourself because your best self is counting on you. You can walk away from a job. You can leave a relationship. You can change direction in life. That is all part of learning and growth. But the one thing you must never walk away from is yourself. Because the moment you quit on yourself, you abandon the very person who is capable of turning your life into something extraordinary. Because your story is not meant to be one of surrender, but one of victory. And the only way you lose is if you quit on yourself.